Hi everybody, Ben Grove here with the finals of the Pokemon TCG Cube League Discord's CoinFlip Cube League. If you've been following along so far, you know the matchup. I'm bringing my Altaria deck that cheats a bunch of dragons into play, and Sleight is bringing his tanky Crobat deck. If you want more of a preview of the matchup, go ahead and check out the rest of the playlist. But we're going to hop into this game pretty quickly. The one thing I do want to bring up is that I've got a Patreon going. If you want to support me making cube content, go ahead, give this a follow or join up. I'm gonna keep the cube content train rolling as long as I can, so would love for you to join me. Otherwise, let's hop right into the action. Starting off the game, Sleight has a mulligan, and I've got a kind of suspect hand that I want to think over. I'm starting Unknown Q, not a great starter, but I've got Pokeball and Ball Guy in hand, so that's good enough for me to get a turn 2 Altaria rolling, so I'm going to keep. Sleight starts it off with Attach, Bench, Cherim, and Pass. And unfortunately, he started a 50 HP Zubat, so I can't knock it out with Unknown Q. Hidden Power only doing 40 with the weakness. So I'll go ahead, start off the turn with Ball Guy. Ball Guy's only going to give me 2 balls because I've got the Pokeball in hand. I'll get Quick Ball and Level Ball. And I'll go ahead and use Quick Ball to grab me a Swablu, specifically the Bench Protection one. Protects me from snipes by potential Dark Golbats. And I realize that Dragonite's prize, so I'm going to use the Level Ball to go for Azelf and get Dragonite into my hand. Now, already in the game, you might be thinking, yeah, this is a misplay on Ben's part by getting the Dragonite so soon, and it totally is. I realize the Dragonite's prize, but just hold on to Level Ball, hold on to Pokeball, because the one thing that the Crobat deck can do, if it pops off correctly, is Forest of Giant Plants or Rare Candy into an early Flutter Trick. And you guessed it, I'm kind of going to be disrupted out of the game. I did not respect Sleight here and his ability to get this turn 2 pop off going, and he gets it and he discards my Pokeball, so now I do not have an Altaria out. I'll use Spark to draw measly 2 cards, drawing one more Altaria out, so that's not going to cut it. And I'll finish the turn off by just double gusting and trying to disrupt a little bit and then passing it back over to him. Not great, but it also does, I'll pop the Unknown Q so that'll protect me a little bit. Slight benching some guys, getting a Cross Transceiver. I'm making him burn some important resources. He burns Tate and Liza for the switch. Not the greatest, but he is able to get the Flutter Trick going and to get rid of the Volkner. Now I draw Quick Ball at the top, which is an out to Altaria in a backwards way because we just discarded Volkner. So I'll use Chatot's Lucky Match to get Volkner into my hand. But while I'm doing this, I realize, wait a minute, I don't have another way to get the Altaria into play because the only searching out I have left in my deck is Computer Search. I could go for the Computer Search, but that is at the cost of discarding Dragonite. So I decide against it, and I go for the Erica. Erica draws 3 cards, and I do just happen to hit the Altaria off that. So I will attach the Lightning I got from Volkner, retreat, and go for the Draco Melody, and I'll bring Flygon into play. Now, unfortunately, this does mean that Dragonite's going to get discarded anyway. You can tell when the Crobat deck hits the early disruption, it's really tough. Especially for my deck, I have a very specific game plan I want to achieve in the first couple turns. Sleight on his turn gets a couple evolutions into play and just Flutter Tricks me, and there goes Dragonite. So on my turn, I realize that Sleight having a 7-card hand is not good for me, even though my hand is not great. My priority is disrupting him, especially because I got an energy attach. So I'll just go ahead and disrupt him and go for a little bit of a Cotton Guard. I'll just tap away really at the Crobat because Fairweather Heal is doing wonders. I pull a Rainbow Energy off the top, and so I'm able to keep powering up the Flygon at a reasonable pace. And then I'll go ahead and Cotton Guard again. Wait, well, I can't go again. No, I Brock's Grit, and then, sorry. I Brock's Grit, there was the untap little glitched out for a second there. I Brock's Grit, Sand Flap myself, and then go for the Draco Melody. A second time getting Dragonite into play. The unfortunate thing is I burned Brock's Grit so early in the game, it's my only recovery item, so the rest of the game is going to be rough. And I really, at this point, there's really not, we're not in a great spot. The triple poison from Crobat will take it. Will take out Altaria finally. I draw a Grass Energy off the top, and then we're going to go ahead and start Sand Tombing. Before I do that, I'm going to set the top of my deck, and I set the top of my deck with Black Belt. My thought process here is, well, if my opponent is able to pivot into the other bat, I can power through it with a Black Belt. And Sleight is on top of this. He's got the Iono, which, since Iono works a little bit differently than Rocket's admin, it's putting that Black Belt into the hand, and he recognizes, oh, that's the card that I wanted. So he's going to go ahead and Flutter Trick the Black Belt away. In this situation, my hand, I mean, my hand has some cards in it, but it's not like amazing. So I believe I do like a really conservative play. I just swing, hold the hand, and I'll get the Shaman off the prizes. My prizes were rough this game, prizing Shaman, Dragonite, and Unknown Y. Second Crobat comes in, which has the swing for 80 and Confusion attack, and the Shaman is a perfect counter to that because I can switch into the Dragonite and start hitting. So my first action will retreat out of Flygon. I actually go for the Energy Restore play, put some energy back in hand, and I'll lock up, trapping the Crobat active and hitting for 40. Not doing really enough in this case because Fairweather Heal is healing 20, and this Crobat has an effective 130 health, so the chip damage really isn't doing it. Honestly, I'm kind of just delaying the inevitable. And if I were playing in a timed match, I would have scooped many turns ago. So here I'll go for the Heal Wing. Realistically, going for the Deafen is not going to be doing enough damage, so I'll Sand Flap my opponent. I'll play down Celebi, draw a couple cards with Lily, and go for the Heal Wing. Sleight pulls the Sunny Heal Cherrim off the top, and we're going to be healing 3 per turn, plus the bats have 130 HP. Now the good thing with him going for a triple poison here is that triple poison is not going to do too much against Heal Wing, because Heal Wing will basically undo a turn of poison, so it's not the best damage in the world. Still decent, but funny thing here that happens is after I judge myself, I've got too good of a hand. I have both Olympia and Switch in hand, and I didn't want that, so I Sand Flap myself to try and avoid the Flutter Trick, but it ends up not working. The Olympia stays in hand, and we're gonna end up losing the Olympia as he Flutter Tricks it. Since I'm already triple poisoned, they're gonna go for the Flutter Trick and discard the Olympia. Now, there's no way for me to get Olympia back. I've got Chatot already on the bench, so the poison is really just ticking up at this point, and we're kind of in desperation mode. At some point, I need to take a KO and take Unknown Y off it so I can power up more energy, but I've used some Psychic Energy already, so powering up something like Regigigas with the Swoop Teleporter play is really tough, and actually in this case I just go for the Grass Energy so I can guarantee an attack with Flygon. The crackback play that Sleight has, of course, is that he'll just heal all the damage off with Crobat and pass with a Cherrim active, and that really is frustrating. And then here I promote Celebi, Forest Breath for turn so I can get some more energy into play, and I go ahead and judge, and hoping to pull another energy off so I can accelerate it with Celebi and maybe like a switch card. And I get just that. I get the Float Stone, I get the Grass Energy. So then I'll go in with Flygon and Sand Tomb. And my hope was at this point that, oh, they're going to miss Energy Attach, but they don't. And they get the Energy Attach, and they swing in for 30 on my Flygon, which kills it. And at this point, I just go ahead and scoop. Game 1 was definitely not in my favor. I misplayed it really poorly, and so with that knowledge, I'm going to go into Game 2 and not give Sleight. I'm going to keep multiple outs to Altaria in my hand no matter what. Start for Game 2, I start just with a lone Azelf, but we rip Swablu off the top, so it's just attached to Swablu pass. And I've got 2 outs to an Altaria in my hand, so I can't even be disrupted by this Flutter Trick, which is great, because it does come in. The great thing is also that my opponent is now down to just 2 cards in hand, so I definitely don't want to give them that Erica, so I will just go for the Volkner. Volkner for Lightning Energy and Pokeball, looks like, because it looks like Level Ball is prized. Oh no, I didn't. Level Ball. A Level Ball for the Altaria. We'll attach Float Stone to Azelf. And I end up attaching Lightning Energy to Azelf too. I mean, the way my deck works is I want to get the energy into play early and then move it over using Shaman Celebration Wind. So I go ahead and use Draco Melody and cheat the Flygon into play. And Sleight has really nothing to do except go for the triple poison. I get an Unknown Y into play, start circulating some energy, and I Erica and follow the Erica up with the Judge. I'm never going to give my opponent any way to draw those extra 3 cards in this situation. And with the board here, I've got Celebration Wind in hand. I've got a Rainbow Energy, so I have all that I need to power up a Flygon. And I stupidly attached the Rainbow Energy to the Flygon. Not the correct play, by any means. I use Celebration Wind to shift my energy around, so I've got the correct energy on Flygon to attack, and I'll go for the Sand Tomb. Recognizing here my opponent has 4 cards in hand, only 1 bat in play, 1 Charm in play, so I might as well kind of just go for an attack right now. No need to give them another turn to try and cheat Dragonite into play. We can cheat it into play later, because we've got Unknown Y just powering up some just blanket energy in the back. Sleight gets a Sinlin and pulls a Cherrim off that, and so it does a little bit of healing, but not enough that the bat is going to be out of range here. And so we feel like we're in a really good spot. Our disruption is kind of coming into play as opposed to Slight's disruption. So in this situation, I actually am going to go for an Attach Retreat and Lockup. Basically, Flygon's poisoned, so I want to get it out of there and kind of conserve its health. Its health is one of my deck's resources, and I don't mind the Lockup going in. I got 50 HP on it, so it's still got some health that it's kicking. Sleight pulls some Pokemon and has to attach and retreat an Herbal Energy, which kind of stinks, and goes into the Cleffa to draw some cards and basically threaten that I have to sand flap him down to 4, but he really didn't have anything. So in this situation, I'm just, I think, continuing to be on the aggressive with my deck and the way it played out in previous games. I usually was the aggressor, but I would run out of resources as the game went on. So I'm just trying to keep the pace, keep the tempo, and we're gonna keep on putting the pressure on, and we're gonna take out this Cleffa after we sand flap him down to 4 cards, hoping that the flap sticks. He benches a couple Zubats and has to essentially attach pass and kind of set himself up for a potential next turn reserve ticket to put something on top of the deck. So basically he's saying, okay, no matter what you do to me disruption wise, I'm guaranteeing I either get 4 cards or 1 good card that I want. I really am kind of in control here to decide, okay, what he's going to get, so I'll judge him. I'll take a new 4 cards myself, nothing too spectacular. Pulling a Pokeball is nice, but mostly I like the judge here because I had a Psychic Energy in hand, so I can accelerate an energy by judging it back into the deck. And then I'll go for the flap on myself to get a new hand, since I've already judged him once, and we'll Sand Tomb, and we'll go up 6 to 3 prizes. Pulling a Double Gust off the prizes is great too. Sleight gets a Clara, which is his recovery item, or recovery supporter. Gets the Forest into play, and is going to start building up some Flutter Triggers. And he'll use Triple Poison to start taking up the poison. Now here I've got a really cheeky play. The one big weakness of the tank support in the Flabebe is that they only... Oh, no, I don't go for the Flabebe yet. I go for the Cherrim right now. Yeah, Cherrim, that's fair. Cherrim is a big healing force. So since the Cherrims are not boosted in HP right now, it's the perfect time to strike and get them out of there, as well as clear the poison off the Flygon. Here in this situation, Sleight does Bug Catcher into a Timer Ball, which will get him both the Floettes, so the Floettes are no longer, or the Flabebes are no longer juicy 30 HP targets. And now Crobat is boosted all the way up to 130 HP. Regrettable, but it is what it is. The good thing is in this situation he just has the poisoning Crobat, so I can kind of play around that a little bit. And I'm gonna do just that. I'm going to go ahead, retreat into Altaria and use this spot here where I've got plenty of energy on board, where I can kind of be flexible with my attackers. And I'm gonna go ahead and get the Dragonite into play with Draco Melody. There's a funny moment there where I'm humming and hawing about, do I want the lightning energy in the discard so I can spark, or do I just want to put it back into my hand? I go ahead and copycat, and then I end up with both lightning and spark in my hand, funnily enough. But then I go ahead and after copycatting, I just go for the Draco Melody, and now we've got both of our big guys in play, and we're hiding behind an Altaria so they stay a little bit fresh. My opponent gets a level ball to find Crobat, benching a Cherrim, threatening with a potential another big healer coming my way, and he'll go for the triple poison. Poison damage is ticking up on the Altaria, threatening it to be knocked out, so I gotta play my cards right. I will go ahead with the Quick Ball, discarding the Lightning Energy and thinning away a Swablu, and then sparking to get that Lightning Energy back into play on the Dragonite. Unfortunately, at this current moment, the only energy I have in hand is Rainbow Energy. So I don't want to put that on the Flygon, because that's just kind of racking up damage, and I'm honestly in range of a Dark Golbat ping, which would be really, really unfortunate. So I actually attached the Rainbow to Shaman, retreat, and since there are no healing guys in play, I'll just go ahead and do a little modest 30 damage poke with the Shaman. And really, that just means like Sleight has to come in and take care of the Shaman now, because it's going to heal the Flygon the whole way up. So because of that, he's attaching to the other Crobat and going to go ahead and swing in with Cross Poison. Realistically, I want him to get rid of the Shaman because I want to put it back into my deck with Brock's Grid eventually. I'll promote my free retreater. And go ahead for the teammates. I think I just teammates for like Brock's Grit. Yeah, I get Brock's Grit because I want Shaman back. I would not be surprised if it's just like Grass Energy. Yep. Grass energy so I can get the guaranteed attack with the Sand Tomb. Oh. I'm gonna go for the lockup. I'll do some chip damage. He's got the weakness guard, so it's not too much. But unfortunately, that does put him in a position to Iona me out of the card that I've selected. I'm betting he knew I was going for the Brock's Grit. And take out my draw engine essentially, because at this point I haven't put Slurp Buff into play yet. I do run a 1/1 Slurp Buff, but it doesn't always see play. Like, it sees play if I can get it into play. But I'll go for the cross is it cross attack, something like that, on the Flygon, knocking it out. And then therefore I'm kind of left in a pickle for sure. I've got a Chatot though, and I end up humming and hawing about which support I'm going to take, but I eventually take Copycat just because that's gonna draw me the most, I believe. Do I take Copycat? Where's that? Let's see. No, I just lock up and pass. Now though, that he's drawn a couple more cards. Now I will go for the Copycat. Now we're starting to see where the point where my deck kind of like the rails, like we're going off the rails. I made it so I was down to 2 prizes, but now Sleight is caught up. He's 3 prizes to 2. I get some really great cards off of the Copycat. I've got a Swoop Teleporter, which I can swoop out Unknown Y, and a Grass Energy, so I can go ahead and use Time Circle. Now, Celebi's Time Circle is an attack that prevents damage from Stage 1s or Stage 2s. It does not prevent effects, so I can still get confused by this Crobat, or I can still get poisoned by the other Crobat. Now, Sleight makes a very interesting play. It's a great play by him. I was kind of expecting a triple poison when he retreats into this Crobat, but he goes for Flutter Trick and is able to get rid of Brock's Grit. So, at this point, I've used Chatot, and Brock's Grit is in the discard. I have no way to recycle anything. What's in the discard is in the discard. No more Flygon, no more Shaman. I'm stuck with what I'm stuck with. And this is really an issue because, as you can see by looking at my deck right now, I've only got 1 more energy. Now, there's 1 energy prize, but right now I'm not threatening a Heal Wing. I don't know if Sleight knows this, but like I can't get to the Heal Wing right now. I can go for a Deafen with Dragonite, but I can't get a Heal Wing. So realistically, my win condition right now that I'm realizing is Slight's at 6 cards in deck. I've got an attacker right now that can block some attacks. We're just gonna kind of roll the dice and see if I can wear him out. Basically, with how aggressive my start was, he kind of really had to burn through the deck to catch up. And now he's at a point where he doesn't really have many resources remaining. I go ahead, attach, and switch into Dragonite, and we'll go for the Deafen. So no item cards can be played, and we're taking up that damage on the Crobat. And he responds with just going in with the other Crobat and swinging for 80 and Confusion. Now luckily here I have the Olympia, so I'm going to switch out. And we just go into Celebi and gently punch it for 30 and protect myself from Stage 1s and Stage 2s. We're really in the end game here, so most of the time neither of us are taking too many actions. Like he'll heal with Cherrim for the turn. And then I think after that it just goes for a, just goes for the Confusion on me. Does not do any damage because of Time Circle, but does threaten me not being able to use Time Circle because of the Confusion. Now, one thing that I kind of figured for myself as a recollection from our previous matches is that I was very conservative with my playing around Confusion. My deck has a lot of switch outs, and in our final Swiss match, I did not go for any, like, I didn't go for any confusion flips. I was always looking for the out to switch. But one of my thoughts that I had going into this game was that I might just have to make the hard decision and go for some confusion flips and see if they flip my way. And especially at this point where winning via taking prizes does not look like an option for me, because I'm not even guaranteed to grab the energy off of the prizes if I take one of these prizes. So I'm kind of in the position where, yeah, like I think I have to go for some flips. So after some mulling it over, I believe this is the turn that I just go for it. I'll quick ball, check if there's really any response that I can do in my deck. I mean, I can get a support licks, but it's not going to do me anything. There's nothing to draw in my deck. So I just failed the quick ball. And I go for the time circle and I flip heads. So we stay confused, but we stay protected. And I think at this point in the game, both Sleight and I realized how pivotal of a coin flip that was. With Sleight still having to take 3 prizes and not doing any damage to me this turn, pretty pivotal. And I'm just kind of checking through his resources. His recovery card is Clara, which does not put things back into the deck, and his only way to put his hand back into the deck is Iono, and he's already used it, and used his Cynthia and Caitlyn as well. So Sleight goes for a Flutter Trick here, just to kind of disrupt me a little bit. It won't do any damage, but it also will keep me out of double gusting some things. But at this point, seeing the KO on the Crobat, I'm going to go in with Dragonite and just knock it out with Deafen. I don't pull the energy off of the prizes, interestingly enough. But Sleight just goes ahead and heals up the Crobat with an Olympia and goes for the 80 damage and Confusion. Now here, I make a pretty clever play, I think. I bump the Training Center and I go for the attack. So no matter what, I live the attack. I don't have to like retreat out into something. And I'm not wasting energy. So he does theoretically have to like KO this Dragonite. And by doing so, then I just promote Celebi and Time Circle and protect myself. And he's got to take 2 prizes. But does not have enough cards in deck to really facilitate it. I don't know. I mean, potentially he didn't realize I didn't have an energy left and that the final energy was prized, but he scoops it up there and we go to game 3. After taking 1 Gentleman's Mulligan, I start with 2 balls in hand and an Unknown Y start, which is good enough for me to once again pull off a turn 2 Altaria. He goes first, starting with the Zubat, and I take a couple mulligans, and he just benches Cherubi Passes. I'm using Unknown Y here to kind of check the deck and pull out a Psychic Energy. My Hidden Power is only doing 10 damage times 2 with weakness, so not enough to KO a 50 HP Zubat. But I got a Ball Guy off of the, either off my top deck or off of the Mulligan cards. So I'm once again going to grab some balls and pull out a Swablu from the deck. And I believe here I've learned my lesson from the previous time, and I'm going to hold on to the Pokeball. So I have Pokeball and Level Ball in hand. I can't be disrupted out of the Altaria, which is great because he does have the Flutter Trick, or he does, or the Force of Giant Plants, and he's going for a Tantalizer to draw some cards. He does not hit the Crobat off the top, and he'll just quick turn with Zubat to chip up some damage on the Unknown Y. I'll use Pokeball to get Altaria out of the deck, pull another energy with Unknown Y, and then just retreat out of it and Draco Melody and put a Flygon into play. My opponent's down to 3 cards in hand. It has a Pokemon Breeder to draw 2. And another Bat to draw 2 more. But beyond those bats there, nothing much. So he's going to quick turn again. I'm just going to keep powering up energy with Unknown Y. A Spark to draw a couple cards. I bench Swirlix here because I'm in a place where I have a level ball in hand. I can go get Slurpuff. And Slurpuff is actually a decent attacker in the matchup. And I'll just go ahead for the Draco Melody. Slurpuff specifically because its attack protects you from effects. Sleight has a very simple turn there. He's just going to snipe down my Unknown Y, which has been building up energy. So I'll respond with the teammates since I've had a knocked out Pokemon. Basically, this is going to prevent me from attacking with one of my big boys this time around. And I've got a pretty decent hand, but I'm just going to teammates and grab some energy. Mostly the weird colors of energy that I need to power up my attackers. Now, funnily enough, I'm looking at this now, and I just realized I could have used Black Belt to knock out the Dark Golbat, but instead, a much more prime target is the Flabébé with 30 HP, which I was talking about earlier. A Cotton Guard will knock it out, so I'll go ahead and use Double Gust and Switch, and put Slurpuff into play as well with Level Ball, and then I will Cotton Guard for the KO. Sleight plays teammates off the back of my teammates, so he's really going to make sure he gets fully set up here. Grabs his 2 cards off the teammates, retreats and goes for a Double Gust. And I just kind of choose one of the Golbats, doesn't really matter. Regardless, he's going to just bring up Dragonite and Flutter Trick me. He's got plenty of targets to Flutter Trick. And yes, chooses the Double Gust. Definitely the best way for me to handle cards like Cherrim. Now I'm down both of my Double Gusts. The interesting thing that I can do here now, though, is I can start attacking with Dragonite since he brought it up so kindly for me. I'm going to Quick Ball and go get Shaman and Celebration Wind to move that energy up to the active. I'll stack my deck. And now here I did make like a minor like gameplay-ish error, and I asked Sleight if I could like fix what I did here, and I'm only doing that. I wouldn't have, like, if I was playing in paper play, I wouldn't have asked, because basically it kind of hinges around the fact that my hand is revealed to Sleight right now because he just Flutter Tricked me last turn from the Crobat, so he knows all the cards in my hand, and he knows the card that like I just put into my hand. Basically, the play I was going for was I was reserve ticketing for a Swoop Teleporter so I could swoop away the Shaman into an unknown queue. But I went one step ahead of that, and I reserve ticketed for the unknown queue, which I noticed when I tasting for it and I put it in my hand. So I will walk that play back. It's like, oh, whoops, we've got the unknown queue here. So the one thing that I really do like about this community is where like playing in cube is like, sometimes it is jank and you really have to like think of really weird lines. So we're pretty forgiving as far as like minor things like that go, because what I want to do with the Shaman is get it out of play and then get it immediately back into my deck. Since I have Brock's Grit in hand, I also throw back Unknown Y and some energy. Then I use Erica to draw 3, and then I'm going to disrupt my opponent and disrupt him down to 4 while deafening and item locking. So the combination of Judge, item lock, and that's really going to kind of do a number on Sleight here. He does get a double rainbow energy, which is enough to start triple poisoning and racking up some poison damage. But I perfect antidote for that is a switch card. Now, once again, this is another walking back example. I realized that like he had forgotten to use his Fairweather heal, and which would have put him in perfect KO range for an Altaria. And he's like, wait, I need to use Fairweather hero. So we kind of allow ourselves to walk this back as well. It's just kind of being fair all around. So I immediately want to go for that play, but I was like, wait, no, we can't do that. And I do end up just, I think I still attach float to the Dragonite here. Yeah, I do. Because it's just, if it gets confused next turn, this is the easiest way to get around that. I attach Rainbow since I need to use Rainbow for either of my bench guys there. And I'm gonna comp search for Olympia. And use Olympia to switch into Slurpuff. Draw a couple cards with tasting and retreat back out. And we've deafened them and taken a KO. Not too much for them to do except Flutter Trick and discard the Chatot, which is admittedly a pretty good play. But since we're in a position right now where there are no HP buffs to the Crobat in play, the Dragonite is super deadly, and we'll just go ahead after we've judged them. Now, the couple turns of Deafening, hoping we're going to stick with them with that, and then we are able to Heal Wing. He is able to find the Crobat evolution off the top, but not enough energy to attack with it, so that's just a promotion of Cherrim and Pass, which I'll then knock the Cherrim out, going down to 2 prizes. He's just got 1 Crobat in play that is able to attack, but since I placed that Float Stone on Dragonite, I'm able to retreat out and go ahead and attack with Light Pulse with Slurpuff. I'm kind of just hoping that the brick sticks, and if the brick does stick, that is game for us. He draws a card for turn, and that's it. The combination of Deafen and Sandflap is really devastating, and it kind of is one that there's very few decks that can come back from, and so that's the league. We take it down with our really cool busted Altaria Dragonite Flygon deck. So this was my first Cube League victory. I was very happy to do it in probably my favorite cube of them all. CoinFlip cube is such a cool cube. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. But I'm going to share just a couple thoughts that I had on this particular cube run. Yeah, Dragonite's got to go. It's way overpowered, and I do recognize that part of me winning is just because I had an admittedly broken card in my deck. Now, does that make me like feel that my win is tainted? I mean, a little, but like overall not really. Like that's kind of part of a cube experience, is like when you're going into a draft is identifying, hey, are there cards that are really powerful? Like, and if you see them in the draft, making it a priority that you can make a deck out of them. And I do think that my draft this time around, if you haven't seen the draft video, go ahead and check it out. My draft was, I played it really smart because I stayed pretty open until I saw the signs of, I think it was maybe in like the 3rd pack, I saw a Flygon at pick 4, and then I saw Dragonite at pick 6. And when you see something like that, that's just an immediate, okay, we're going and we're committing to this. But I stayed open till that point. And that really, I think, just kind of helped me achieve that. So, this cube, I think, is in a really great spot. We take out the Dragonite and maybe alter Force to Giant Plants. I think for a fun perspective, Forest is not a fun card. I mean, it's banned in it's banned in formats, and it it just leads to some feels bad moments that, like, when you're playing a cube, you don't want the people who are coming out to play your cube to be stuck in feels bad moments of like, oh, I just didn't get to play the game because my opponent had forest. I think personally the solution that I would do is I would make all the Zubats dark or psychic type, so you could still have forest or giant plants to go like Golbat, Crobat, but you couldn't do it on turn 1, which I think would be cool. But that's up for Best Pal Al to decide. And Best Pal Al is, shout outs to Best Pal Al, because he's not only the person who designs Cube Koga, which is a legendary website, but he also has this legendary cube, and I've had a blast playing it in this league, and I hope everybody else did, and we're looking forward to the next league. If you're looking to get yourself in on the action in the next league, you can check out the Discord link that I've got in the video here. We're starting that league up, I believe, the first weekend of December, and I'll have some cube preview content out for that before the cube fires off, and then you can follow my journey through whatever the next cube is throughout the month of December. But cheers.